guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are going to be testing out these two palettes. Now recently Shop Hush has come out with a new eyeshadow palette. I have mentioned this website quite a few times on my channel. If you're not familiar with Shop Hush, it's a website that sells affordable eyeshadow palettes, and not only just eyeshadow palettes, they also sell other products on there that are very affordable and that are also dupes to other high-end products. So in today's video we're going to be testing out the new Bad Habit Retro Love eyeshadow palette. Now if you have not seen this palette yet, prepare to be shook, okay? Prepare to be shook. So in today's video we are going to be putting this palette to the test. We're going to be testing it out and comparing it to the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette, and we're also going to be doing a mini tutorial. So if you had to guess which eye on me has the Subculture palette and which eye has the Bad Habit palette, go ahead, leave your guesses down below. Do not cheat, don't fast forward through this video. I want you guys to guess which eye has what palette, and I am going to be looking at the comments as soon as this video goes live. So yeah, let's take some guesses. Let's leave them down below in the comments and let's just have some fun. But yeah, back to this palette right here. Now this palette retails for only $10. Yes, $10, you guys. I did not stutter. $10 for this eyeshadow palette, and these colors are the same colors that are in the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, which I will hold this one up to. Now the colors are not in the same order, but they do have the same shades in there. So we're gonna be doing a couple of swatches. We're gonna do a mini tutorial. We're just gonna have fun in this video, and I cannot wait to share my thoughts and all of that good stuff on this palette. So this will kind of be like a first impression type video because I have not, well obviously this palette is already messed up now because I have already dipped into it. We've already recorded this look and all that good stuff. But before I filmed this look, I have not dipped in this palette at all. I have not swatched any of the colors. The only thing I have done is open the palette and take a picture. That's the only thing I did. But I'm so excited to share this video with you guys. I cannot wait so you guys can see how I created this look, and so you guys can know or just hear my thoughts on this palette, if it's better than the Subculture palette or if it's worse than the Subculture palette. So let's go ahead and jump into this video so you guys can see how I created this eye look, and so you guys can know which palette is on which eye. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Are we ready for this? So I'm going to do the Retro Love palette on this eye, and then I will do the Subculture palette on this eye. So we're gonna see if these looks look different from one another. I have a feeling they're not even gonna look different, but let's go ahead and try this palette out. Holy crap. This is the Bad Habit Retro Love palette, and I've already went over this palette already, so we're just gonna go ahead and dive right into this look. So we're gonna start off with my favorite brushes from Sigma, which are the E40, and these are the blending brushes. So one eye, I don't even know what look we're gonna go for today. I never know what look I want to go for when I'm doing a tutorial, but we're gonna try to make this short and sweet because I don't want this video to be too long. So starting off with the Retro Love palette, we're gonna dip into the shade Rock and Roll, which is this burgundy shade. You guys know I always gravitate towards a burgundy shade when I'm starting off any eye look. So we're gonna dip into this. This is my first time dipping into this palette. So let's try this out, y'all. No kickback at all, none whatsoever. Whoa. So we're gonna put this in the crease. I didn't get enough the first time, so I had to dip it back in there a little bit. So far it's blending out really nicely. I didn't want to put too much on the brush because since this burgundy shade is a little dark, I didn't want to, you know, put too much into the crease, but it is blending out really nicely, and there's literally no kickback when I'm tapping my brush in here, like none. It's a little bit, but it's not as much as the Subculture palette. So yeah, and it is blending out very good. Very impressed so far. So okay, so that's the Bad Habit side, and now we're gonna go over to this side and pick up that same color and the Subculture palette, and I do believe that shade will be similar to, let's see, All Star. So this color right here, we're gonna take my other brush, which is the same E40, it's just a clean brush, and use it on this eye and tap into this. Now this has a lot of kickback, so you have to lightly tap your brush into this. So yeah. And you see how choppy, I don't know if y'all can see it, but look how choppy that is. Like there's a darker section right there. I don't know, it's just something about the Subculture palette that is just not, it ain't right. It just ain't right, y'all. It ain't right. I don't know. You have to really, really work with this. I think it's just some of the shades though that's kind of choppy, but I feel like this one blended out so much better than this one. Alright, so the Bad Habit palette, Subculture palette. Do y'all see a difference? I don't, not at all. As far as the performance, the Bad Habit blended out so much easier, and it just looks more blended, and the shade, it just, I don't know, it looks better on this side than it does this side. Or maybe that's just, I'm just seeing things, I don't know. But so far, Bad Habit is definitely a 2 thumbs up. We're gonna pick up the shade Nostalgia, which is this deep purple. And I'm gonna use that same E40 brush that I used on this eye. I'm not even going to switch out the brush, just kind of wipe off anything that was on the brush. But we're gonna use that same brush, go into that deeper purple shade. Let's see if when I tap my brush in it, if there's any fallout there. None whatsoever. Like there's no fallout in this palette. Like this palette may be better than the Subculture palette. But we're just gonna deepen up the crease. Y'all, these blend out. I am just impressed already with this palette. Like, no lie. Look how easy and so blended that looks. It looks airbrushed. Now going back into the Subculture palette, we're gonna take the shade Rowdy, which is very similar to the shade Nostalgia in the Bad Habit palette. So this deep purple, I'm taking that same brush that I used on this side and using that and dipping into it. And there is so much kickback with these. I literally have to tap the brush. But yeah. Look how choppy that looks. Like, look at that. It looks like, I don't know. And I am using the same brush, you guys. Like, both of these are the Sigma E40s. They are the same brush. So, yeah, that goes to show that this palette. Alright, just by looking at this, the Bad Habit side, it looks so much more blended and put together than the Subculture side. I don't know what it is. It's just this one looks more blown out, more smoky, more blended, more airbrushed, and this side kind of looks like I have to put a little more work into it. But that's all I'm gonna do for that side. But as far as like the colors, you can't really see a difference. At least I don't see a difference. It looks like the Bad Habit is a little bit darker than the Subculture side. But yeah, so what we're gonna do now is get my Sigma E35 brush. This is kind of similar to the Sigma E40. It's just a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna dip into Free Love, which is this super duper deep teal color. I'm gonna dip into that, and there's a little bit of kickback with this shade right here, but it's not so much to where, you know, that I'm just gonna be concerned about it. So I'm just gonna place this on the outer part of my V. These are so easy to work with. And I'm gonna put a little bit on the inner corner, kind of like a halo. I'm impressed with this palette so far, like impressed. I can't wait to show y'all up close swatches of this palette. I have not even done swatches yet, but you guys will see up close swatches. So this is just my first time actually dipping brushes in this palette, but I have not even swatched my finger in this. But I can't wait to show you guys, so yes. All right, so that's all I'm gonna do for that. Now, I don't have another E35 anywhere near me, so what I'm gonna do is just try to, you know, take all of that product off this brush, put it on a dry paper towel, and just kind of dust it off. So once I swirl it in the other palette, it won't pick up any of that product. So now we're gonna go into the Subculture palette, and the shade that's very similar to the one in Bad Habit is the shade Axis, which is this dark teal right here. Y'all, all of these colors in the Subculture palette looks exactly like the colors in the Bad Habit. It just looks so much similar. Just tap it on here. All right, so that's all I'm gonna do with the teal shade. I'm gonna wipe that brush off. I don't think I'm gonna use this anymore. Now I'm gonna pick up my Sigma F70 brush, and this is a concealer brush, but we're not gonna use it as a concealer, obviously. We're gonna take a metallic, and I wanna do this gold. It's like a very deep rust penny copper gold shade. So I want to use this color in the center of my lid, and first we're going to try it out without using any Fix Plus on it because I want to see if I need to use a Fix Plus or not. So we're going to take just a little bit of it. Doesn't look like it's coming off on the brush. Well, yes it is. It's coming off a little bit, but not much. Y'all know what? This may not even need Fix Plus. So it did come off on there really nicely. Let's just put this on the center of the lid. Y'all, whoa. I don't think I'm gonna need a Fix Plus for this. Wow. Holy crap. I don't even need Fix Plus. Y'all, look at that. Do y'all see? Do y'all see that? I don't even think y'all see this. Like, I don't even think y'all understand. Holy crap. Like, I'm not even having to dip the brush back into the product because it's spreading out on the eye so nicely. Y'all, impressed is not even the word. Like, I don't even know how to describe. Like, oh, what? Look at that. I didn't even need to dip my brush back into the product. But I'm still gonna go ahead and dip it back into there because I do want to pick up more product. But y'all, look at how, what? Y'all, this palette, so far it is so much better than the Subculture palette. Look at that pigmentation. Oh my God, I am speechless. Like, speechless is what I am. That is beautiful. So what I'm gonna do is take that Sigma E35 and just kind of tap back into that burgundy, not the burgundy, but the Free Love, which is that deep teal, and kind of buff out the outer V so I can blend everything together. Holy crap, that looks so good. And the fact that I didn't even have to put a freaking setting spray on my brush for that middle shade to stick to show up. I guess we can go into the SUBCULTURE palette now. Ugh. We're gonna go into the shade Adorn, which is the same color in the Bad Habit, which is in the shade Revolution. I don't think I mentioned the shade the first time when I dipped into it, but it's the shade Revolution in the Bad Habit palette. So Adorn, I'm gonna take that same brush and take the other side of the brush. So I'm gonna flip it over and dip into Adorn, which I'm not even picking up any product. I may have to do a Fix Plus with this, but yeah, it's very, very gritty, but we're gonna work with it. It is falling everywhere. The color is very, very pretty, but it's falling everywhere. Let's see if I can spread this color out as much as I did with the Bad Habit. Looks like I can, but let's see. I'm trying not to try to dip into it again because I felt like I really did a good job with spreading the color out on this side. So I'm gonna try not to dip my brush into that again. All right, so that's the best I can do. I'm gonna dip it in there again one more time just to get another layer because I did do 2 layers on the Bad Habit side. Now going back with my Sigma E35, I'm gonna wipe or dust off that shade that I used in the Bad Habit palette and kind of blend out and smoke out this eye with that same color, which is the shade Axis, which is similar to the shade Free Love in the Bad Habit palette, which is very dusty. Going back into the Bad Habit palette, we're gonna take my Sigma E40. I wiped all of the product off of this brush, and we're just gonna lightly tap into this burgundy shade, which is the very first shade that we used for this look. So I'm just gonna lightly tap my brush in it, not too much, and just kind of drag it above my crease so that I can blend that crease out so it can all look together. Now taking my other Sigma E40 and wiping off whatever was on that brush, picking up SUBCULTURE, and we're gonna take that same shade, which is All Star, which is similar to the one in Bad Habit, lightly tapping this, like super duper lightly tapping it, and do the same thing on this side. All right, so I think that is all I'm gonna do for the eyes right now. Now my very last step that I wanna do though, off camera, is apply my eyeliner, mascara, and my lashes. So I will go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back to talk about these palettes. Okay, so everything is complete. I went ahead and put my lashes on, and I love this look. I honestly do not see a difference in any of the eyes. Like, I do not see a difference at all. It looks very, very similar. I feel like I did a look similar to this when I used the SUBCULTURE palette. I did do a review on the SUBCULTURE palette, and I feel like I think my look came out kind of similar to this, except I did like a reverse smoky eye, so it was just a little blue on the inner corner and not so much on the outer corner. But I still think it looks really good, and it does not even look like I'd used 2 different eyeshadow palettes. Like, it doesn't look like it at all. So $10 versus $42, yes, I would get the $10 palette. Absolutely, positively, no doubt about it, I would get the $10 eyeshadow palette. Now, I know you guys are waiting for the swatches, so let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. Now, with the swatches, what I'm gonna do is put the swatches side by side. So one finger, I'll be swatching the Bad Habit palette, and then on the other finger, I'll be swatching the SUBCULTURE palette. I'll be swatching the same colors in each palette, so you guys can see them side by side when I do that. And I'll do up close swatches so y'all can see it better. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the swatches, and then after the swatches, we will follow up with both of these palettes and see which one was the best, if the SUBCULTURE palette is worth the $42 or if the Bad Habit palette is worth the $10. And obviously you guys already know what side I'm on already, but let's go ahead and jump into the swatches so y'all can see these shades side by side. All right, so this is what the palettes look like up close side by side. The one on the top is the Bad Habit one, and the one on the bottom is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture. As you can see, they look very similar. The shades are switched up in each palette. So let's start off with the swatches. The top swatch is from the Bad Habit palette, and this is in the shade Rock and Roll. And then we have the bottom palette, which is from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. As you can see, the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette is very pigmented from that swatch, which is pretty surprising. I did not know that was that pigmented, but there is from the Bad Habit, and there's a swatch from the Anastasia Beverly Hills. All right, the top one is from the Bad Habit palette. This is in the shade Free Love, and from swatching it, you can see there is a little kickback. And then from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, this one is in the shade Axis. The pigmentation does not look the same, but the colors are very, very similar, if not the same. All right, so let's swatch a metallic shade. So the top one is from the Bad Habit palette, and this is in the, oh my God. Whoa, that is pretty. And the bottom one is from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. That is in the shade Adorn. So they look pretty much similar. You can see a little fallout from the Bad Habit palette. Going back into the Bad Habit palette, this is in the shade Icon. And the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, this is in the shade Electric. Both of these swatched very similar. Like, there's no difference in these swatches. And the colors look identical. All right, going back into the Bad Habit palette, this is in the shade Flower Power. And then we have Roxy from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Back to the Bad Habit palette, we're gonna swatch the shade Rebel. And then the Anastasia Beverly Hills, we're gonna swatch the shade Edge. So we have the Bad Habit palette, this is in the shade Nostalgia. And then from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, we have the shade Roxy. Going into the Bad Habit palette, we're gonna swatch the shade Youth, which did not swatch pretty good, but we're gonna work with it. And going back into the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, we're gonna swatch the shade Fudge. All right, you guys, so those were some of the swatches. I did not swatch every single color. I just swatched pretty much the color that would show up on me. The other shades were the really, really, really light shades, which I'll go ahead and try to swatch those on my hand. But I just swatched the darker shades on my arm so you guys can see them side by side. So this is the Bad Habit palette, and this is the Subculture palette. And judging from those swatches, the Subculture palette was so much better with the swatches than the Bad Habit palette. The pigmentation from the Subculture palette was phenomenal, but the pigmentation from the Bad Habit palette was not really there. But as far as the application with the brushes, I feel like the Bad Habit palette was better because there was pretty much no kickback when I was dipping my brush in it like it was with the Subculture palette. And let me put these into different hands because this side of my face has this Bad Habit and this one has a Subculture. But yeah, like I was saying, as far as the application with the makeup brush, I feel like this Bad Habit palette was so much better than the Subculture palette because there is a ton of fallout when I'm dipping my brush in here, and sometimes when I'm applying the color on my eyes, it does look a little patchy. But as far as the Bad Habit palette, these blended out so good with the brush. And you guys saw when I was doing my tutorial, like this palette blends out so nicely. Even though the pigmentation is not there with the finger swatches, it is definitely there with the brush. So I definitely give this palette a 2 thumbs up. And as far as the Subculture palette, I like it. I love the colors. It's just that applying them with a brush on your eyes, it can get kind of tricky. So yeah, those are my thoughts on both of these palettes. Now, do I think the Subculture palette is worth it? Honestly, now that they have a dupe for $10, I definitely don't think it's worth the $42. But if you're a fan of Anastasia Beverly Hills products and you of course love to collect makeup and you have not purchased the Subculture palette yet, I would still go ahead and purchase it, try it out for yourself. But if you're not wanting to spend $42 for an eyeshadow palette but you want these same colors, definitely get your hands on the Bad Habit palette. Now they did sell out of this palette. I don't know when it will be back in stock. So when it's back in stock, you guys have to jump on it because these sell out so fast. So yeah, definitely think this is totally worth the $10, and it's just only $10, you guys. You cannot beat that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this palette. Oh, let me go ahead and swatch a couple of the lighter shades so y'all can see them on my hand. So I'm going to swatch this white iridescent color. This looks like it has like a pink reflection, very similar to the one from the Subculture palette. This is called Psychedelic. So I'll swatch that on my finger and I'll swatch it on my hand. So yeah, it has that pink, kind of like a pink iridescent color. And then Cube is the shade in the Subculture palette. So I'll swatch Cube right beside it. And it does not have any pigmentation at all. So, okay, that's so weird. You can see more of the white in this color. Let me just blend it out a little more. Now you can see it. So there is that pink reflection, and then the Subculture palette, which I can barely get any product to come up. That's so weird. Like, I got so much product to come up when I was doing on my arm, but this, it doesn't even want to cooperate. But there is that color. Another lighter shade in this palette is this very light taupey looking shade. It's kind of like a nude. It's in the shade Peach. So there is Peach from the Bad Habit palette. It's a lot of kickback right there. And then Dawn is the shade in the Subculture palette. Let me pick up a little of that and swatch it right beside Peach. So there it is right there. So those are just a few of the lighter shades from each palette that, like I said, wouldn't really show up on me. They look pretty much white. But I wanted to show you guys what they look like side by side on my hand. So yeah, I think that is everything I have for you guys. I just wanted to show you guys some swatches, do a little mini tutorial so you guys can see the colors side by side on my eyes, and if you guys could see if there's any differences, which I don't think there's a difference at all. So yeah, I think that is everything I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you thumbs it up, and if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And yeah, I think that is everything I have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.